This is King Edward VI School. We're an independent co-education school in Southampton. We've got about 970 pupils. We chose to go with React because we were looking at how we could deal with our virtual environment. We wanted to choose a virtual environment because largely of security. We wanted to know that our IT systems were there, available all the time. Because the IT systems now become so important to our school, both in teaching purposes and also for administration, it was vital to keep them as much as we could, in fact all the time. So what we've done is we've taken two parts of the building, two ends of the building, to put our storage devices in there. We also wanted to have the ability to expand the amount of data that was available, and also to make sure that we added resource when we needed to. So that's where some of the facilities that React offered with their solution became very attractive. Why did we choose Nexsan? I think it was explained to us fairly clearly by React. I think we probably were relatively beginners in the virtualized area, so we did look at a number of options. I think the Nexsan solution gave us a lot of flexibility about how we were going to deal with current and future storage needs. So things like high availability were important, things about the ability to expand, choosing an industry standard were all important things. And I think the benefit of choosing React in that sense was that they pushed us towards things that were relevant to us, and they sort of understood our needs, whereas I don't think necessarily we understood our needs at the beginning. So yeah, that was probably why we did it. And I think going a little bit onto Nexsan into details was the idea of how we deal with different operating systems, how we deal with, as I said, expansion, dealing with different disk drives, dealing with how we moved storage around from one part of the school to the other in terms of where the data was actually stored. Because I think one of the confusions with virtual storage is it's actually not virtual at all, really, because it's based on physical devices. So that was, I think it really was the flexibility. We did look at other solutions. They were roughly the same cost, didn't seem to offer quite as much, and that combined with DataCore, I think DataCore was another aspect of it, because I think we liked the idea of being able to theoretically mix and match devices and even possibly use, although we haven't yet, older servers to do certain functions in data storage. Or that's right, yeah. So I mean, basically, I think the capacity idea was good, and we also then chose to, in terms of the storage we raised, we added as much flexibility as we could forward in terms of cost, and we will be nearly filling that up again. So. Okay, why did I choose React? Okay, we basically went out. We have to, as a school, go out to at least 3 companies, and so in part of the process about learning how we were going to virtualize, because we had a very small virtualized environment before, we wanted to really virtualize everything, more or less everything, and so we talked to 3 companies. The other companies were good, but I think React stood out probably because they experienced similar schools to us and their knowledge of education in that context, whereas the other companies would have probably given us just as good support. Possibly they were a bit further away, that was a constraint to us, so React being relatively close to us, but I don't think actually that's a major consideration if you were further away, but that was certainly a choice. We had good technical pre-sales and good technical after-sales, so I think all in all, it's been a pretty good experience with us so far. We had 1 or 2 things that probably we didn't understand in terms of our needs at the beginning, so those were addressed. So some of the things we hadn't thought about perhaps as clearly as we should have done, and so again, it was quite useful to have support in that. And as well as we initially started off with virtualization as being our main context, but we have used React in smaller ways for other things, such as using Ericom for some virtualized environments, virtualized desktops, and that's probably something we'll expand. So at the moment we've got a good setup, it works well, and good support, which we haven't used perhaps as much, but that's probably because we've got stable products. So hopefully that will continue that way.